I am ready when you're ready. And we are back on the 0 hour. This is Richard RJ Eskow. And you know, between Medicare, Social Security, the Trump counter-revolution, and rock and roll, there's a lot to talk about these days with our next guest. Those are not necessarily listed in order of priority, by the way. Joining us now is our good friend, Jon Bauman, who you may know better as Bowzer from Sha Na Na, but Jon is also an activist. He campaigns for Democratic candidates. He campaigns to protect Medicare. He is co-founder of a lobbying group, or is it a PAC? Actually, it's a PAC called Senior Votes Count. And he's in town for a couple of reasons we discuss here in Washington D.C. But first of all, Jon, thanks for coming back on the show.
Well, thank you, Richard R.J. Eskow.
All right, let's get it out of the way.
From Jon Bauman. See, because we all have three.
All right, let's get it out of the way. Give us.
One. Okay, I can do this. Which camera? You think this one here?
I think so.
1, 2, 3.
All right, done. Okay.
You know something that I shouldn't say that I said?
What?
I went around for quite a long time during the last several months saying, on the night of November 8th, Hillary Clinton's got to be doing this.
In retrospect,
she wasn't doing that.
No, I highly doubt it, actually.
I can tell you for sure she was not.
And now the entire country is doing this, except even the Trump voters, I think, by the way.
Oh, I think everybody's depressed. I mean, I travel the entire country all the time, and I've been back and forth quite a few times. I've never seen the country in such a somber mood.
Yeah, no, I have to agree with that.
Everyone is fearful.
And it shows up even in things like the polling numbers of, do you approve of the transition process? At this point, his presidency now, which was before he took office in 2008, Barack Obama had an 83% approval rating for his transition process. Trump is less than half. He's like 46%. So people are just not looking forward to this experience at all.
No, his voters are apprehensive, and I think the cabinet picks have made them more apprehensive. You know, they're a little bit eye-opening for the folks out there who think that somehow he's going to, turn things around completely in favor of the working folks.
Yeah.
By now, apparently, it's not just he who understands the rigged system because and is the only one who can fix it, but it's every zillionaire that understands the rigged system and is able to fix it.
Steve Mnuchin, who is turning families out of their homes. Betsy DeVos.
Pick a billionaire.
And now Linda McMahon.
Linda McMahon,
the wrestling.
Great.
My piece in the Huffington Post this week on Linda McMahon is called "Trump is treating voters like a bunch of jabronis," which he is. I mean, he played people for suckers.
Suckers, con job.
Yeah, and now we're dealing with.
And it's not as if we were busy giving people ample warning that this was going to be a con job.
But they
still seem to be surprised.
A lot of people didn't believe us. And that's something actually worth talking about because you're very involved in Democratic politics. And, the Democratic Party, it's, as you know, at lows in some ways statistically that has never existed in either one of our lifetimes. I mean, it's got the lowest representation in Washington, D.C. It's got only 18 governor's chairs. It's lost a lot of state houses. Hillary Clinton did get more votes for president, but they weren't where they needed to be.
Right, and that's really that's the actual issue.
Which is the game.
I mean, as you and I spend a lot of time on both coasts. Now, I also, because I do so many shows and have done over the years, spend a lot of time in the middle of the country. I spend a lot of time in the interior, so I do understand it. It's not like I don't understand it, but this rural versus urban fight now that this has really become, and this coasts versus middle fight that this has really become, it doesn't bode well. We're going to have to figure this out.
Oh, absolutely.
But I don't feel like the supposed low ebb is that real. This has been a divided country for quite a while now.
Yeah.
And the divisions, Trump just brought the divisions, by people. Many have said dog whistling, but it was really more like just whistling. I mean,
it was.
Dog whistles can only be heard by dogs. This
right.
was just you come right out and say, hey, it's all these people's fault that you're not a zillionaire like me.
Right.
And I can make you one, and by tomorrow, if we just batter these people into submission and make them go away,
And
or something.
in retrospect, it's almost a miracle that we haven't had a president like Trump before. I mean, it seems like it's the old-fashioned, cheap medicine show salesmanship.
Right.
But here we are. We're kind of in trouble now. I mean, and the fact is, look, I think part of it, Democrats were not paying attention maybe enough while Republicans were rigging the system. Voter suppression and gerrymandering and all the rest of it. They rewrote the rules.
Gerrymandering, I'm going to get involved in the districting project because, as somebody who does a lot of House races, I've done every special election that there has been. I've been hyper aware of the districting issues for years now. And this is we're going to have to point towards 2020.
Oh, you bet.
2020 is really the year. There's going to be another census. And we're going to be stuck with whatever happens in 2020 for 10 more years, as we have been stuck with what happened in 2010.
Right. So you have elections like 2012 where the Democrats get, 1 million, 2 million more votes for Congress, but it goes overwhelmingly to the Republicans.
Right.
So that means getting state houses as well as the high visibility races, because that's who's going to decide the district lines, right?
It does. And it also means getting referenda on ballot. This is a state-by-state issue. America is a conglomeration of somewhat autonomous states, as we've all heard about states' rights. A good example that I can give you was during the assault that began in 2010 on public workers' rights.
Right.
I may be the only person who went to all 13 recall districts in Wisconsin.
Oh, good.
And I also worked on what was called No One Issue 2 or SB 5 in Ohio. And just to give people I think a good, for instance, we were very successful in Ohio. If you remember, we stopped the assault on public workers that Kasich initiated, and Kasich actually stuck his tail between his legs and said, "I have heard the voice of the people," and did actually moderate his governing style. And he's still pretty conservative, but he did change his approach to things. Whereas in Wisconsin, their process was quite successful, initiated by Scott Walker, because the recall process, which is the way Wisconsin fights this kind of thing, is a very cumbersome and ineffective way of doing it. Whereas the referendum, on issue on issue 2, it was called, the referendum in Ohio was a very direct and easy way to fight this problem.
To push back.
And the people didn't want it, to push back. So in every state, we need to have commissions drawing the lines.
We've
done that in California, as you know. Florida did something different. It's better than it was before, but it should have been better still.
And I think there are two things to remember in all this, which is pushing back on what they're doing. One is that people do like democracy when you put it on the ballot.
Right.
But the other is that, in my opinion, and again, we're talking with Jon Bauman, Bowzer, about a bunch of stuff. And but the other is that people really don't like what the Republicans stand for when you remind them of it.
Absolutely, right.
We have Donald Trump in the White House because he said, "I'm not like the other Republicans. I'm going to defend your Medicare. I'm going to defend your Social Security. I'm not like those other guys." Now here he is appointing.
He said that.
He's appointing Medicare haters and guys who want to destroy Medicare.
He said that, and then he sent one of my favorite surrogates of his. In fact, I'm sorry he wasn't around more. Sam Clovis, are you familiar with Sam Clovis?
No, actually, I'm not.
Who weighs about 800 pounds, and he's this guy from Iowa, who Trump sent out about 2 weeks after he said, "I'm going to protect and defend your Social Security." He sent Sam Clovis around to say, "Oh, maybe not so fast." And all of a sudden,
to the
typical,
people,
everybody.
Yeah, okay.
So we have no idea.
No, I think we do, actually. When you appoint Representative Tom Price for Health and Human Services.
That could be a hint.
That's a hint, because this guy's been trying to destroy Medicare as we know it for years. So it looks bad. So one of the reasons you're in town, I think you did a show here, or on the East Coast.
No, I did the show with Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, Jan Schakowsky.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That was the show.
That was the show in town.
You
All
were
right.
there.
I was there. Medicare press conference. Now, this was hands off our Medicare.
Correct.
And this ties into your work with Senior Votes Count.
It
right?
does.
This
was after my Bowzer shows in Florida.
Right. Okay, that's right. You said Florida.
Yes.
So, so a lot of your, we'll get to that, the Bowzer show in a second. But okay, so hands off my Medicare. The Democrats were fired up. We had, let's see, Bernie Sanders. We had Nancy Pelosi. We had Chuck Schumer. We had a couple great people from the House who were also impressive, and our friends from Social Security.
What was impressive was Tony Cardenas.
He was the last.
He was.
He was terrific. I thought so
he's
too.
From he's the district next to mine.
Okay.
And,
yeah, he
in
really.
Los Angeles, he
knocked it out of the park.
Crushed
actually,
it because, and I don't even know what his personal story is, but there was so much emotion in the way he presented that I was more than impressed.
And we had just sat through a half hour of one speaker after another, and I thought, oh boy, one more. It was almost like they threw him up. I don't want to hear one more. And he was just so powerful.
And Bernie, of course, crushed it.
Bernie was Bernie. Yeah.
Bernie knows what he's talking about, and Bernie knows how to talk about these issues.
And Bernie doesn't mince words, and I think that's a big deal.
Very direct.
I think talking straight to people is very, very effective.
And he's passionate. He continues to be passionate. And he was passionate at this event. It was a terrific event that was put together by Social Security Works, our friends. And, and Senior Votes Count is affiliating. We're not quite sure exactly what the structure is going to be, but we're going to affiliate with Social Security
Works. Oh, good.
I actually... upcoming cycle, so...
I actually did not know that.
Yes, starting now.
Now we've got Republicans out there. This is such a good issue to hit these guys on, Medicare and Social Security.
They are fools to go after this.
Well, which is why...
This is Mr. Ryan's, fantasy, of course.
His Ayn Rand libertarian... leave the parasites to starve.
I've heard, I don't think I can assign credit to the appellation Evil Eddie Munster, but...
I always, actually, if we're doing old TV references, I always thought of him more as Eddie Haskell.
No, he is Eddie Munster. I mean,
okay, all right.
Personality-wise, yes.
Eddie, you look lovely today,
but
Mrs.
he is
Cleaver.
the winner. But Paul Ryan is the winner of the Eddie Munster look-alike contest.
But he is the winner of the Eddie Haskell sound-alike. You look lovely today,
that's
Mrs.
true.
Cleaver.
You got a point there.
So what are you guys?
It wouldn't be our friend Alex Lawson who called him the Evil Eddie Munster, though.
No, of course not.
Couldn't possibly have been.
Senior Votes Count. What are you guys going to do about Medicare?
Oh, that's easy. So we are going to kick off the Save Medicare tour. And the purpose of the Save Medicare tour is to, it really has a mission. The mission is to find 3 Republican senators who will vote against reconciliation and therefore put us in a situation where the assault on Medicare can be filibustered. So three votes.
So Susan Collins.
Which might be the reason why we're going to Maine to kick off the Save Medicare tour on January 17th. We'll be in Lewiston and Portland, so please do join us.
What about to
It'll
Tennessee?
Be cold.
Lamar Alexander sounds a little nervous about
We
all
just
of this.
might be going there, kind of next or third or something like that. Dean Heller is probably a good bet to talk to. Lamar Alexander has already said something about this. As you know, Susan Collins said something quite forthright about it.
I think she said they didn't vote for this.
She said, I have reservations. I don't. They didn't vote for this.
Right, which of course is accurate.
And then, there may be, I do love our beautiful country, and one of the most beautiful parts of our country, although it's the most remote part of our country, is up there in the frozen north.
Yeah.
And there may be a trip in store for me to visit Lisa Murkowski's lovely state as well.
And what better time than February?
We'll probably be picking we're gonna do sort of a test run of the Save Medicare tour in January. And then we're probably going to continue the tour in March or April. And that may be when I choose to go to Nome.
If you don't want to bring a team of Huskies, I might.
No,
Now,
I won't go- and
Alaska listeners are going to give me a hard time.
I
about
probably
that
won't
now.
go to Nome. Oh, listen, I can fix that because Alaska is unquestionably. Have you spent much time there?
Unfortunately, not enough.
It is. I've been to all 50 states. I've done shows in 49. That disturbs me, by the way.
What's the exception?
Wyoming.
We got to get you.
Even with Sha Na Na, we never did a show in Wyoming. There's very few.
Which is a beautiful state, also.
There are very few metropolitan areas. There aren't a lot of places. Oh, it's beautiful, and I've been there many times because I love the outdoors.
Yeah.
I visit the national parks, but I've actually never done a show in Wyoming. I've done shows in all 49 other states, and if my feet were held to the fire, and I said, and somebody said, okay, what's the most, or rank the states in order of natural beauty, Alaska's one.
All right. Well, I will go back there and I will make my personal amends to the entire state if I get the chance.
It is the most beautiful state in America.
John, we got about a minute left. Bowzer's.
This went by so quickly.
I know.
Richard.
It's always such a pleasure to talk to you. Bowzer's Rock and Doo-Wop Party. Did I say that right?
You did.
All right. I'm all about plugging my friends. So what's going on with that?
Okay, so right before the Save Medicare tour begins on January 17th, you can go to Bowzer's Rock and Doo-Wop Party at the Mohegan Sun Arena in Uncasville, Connecticut, and have an incredible lineup of 10 acts. I'm the host, I'm the producer, I'm the host. I also do my show in the middle of it. It's our 16th consecutive year at the Mohegan Sun Arena. It will probably be sold out like it has been for the previous 15 years.
Good.
And this is still a very vital. There will be a lot of Trump voters there.
Sure, they will.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And I never put political things in my show ever.
No, but I sense a little enlightened self-interest here because save Medicare and then your audience stays alive so they can come see the tour next year.
And I love yes, but I don't want them to. I don't want them to stay alive just so they can come to my show. I want the audience. Yes, I want the audience to stay alive because keeping the audience alive and healthy is the right thing to do. And and Medicare, as you know, before Medicare was passed in 1965, 35%, a little bit more than 35% of American seniors lived below the poverty line.
Right.
And before Social Security, over 50%. So these are the two most successful.
And both lifespan and mortality have improved dramatically among seniors. So it is the right thing to do since Medicare was passed. So it is the right thing to do, and it's more efficient than other programs for
Way
health.
more efficient.
So, all right. Unfortunately, we're going to have to leave it
overhead.
there. Very low overhead.
These are the two most successful social programs in the history of our republic, and we need to keep them that way.
And seniors do vote, so seniors can help do it. So Jon Bauman, always a pleasure to see you. Thanks for coming on the program. I'm sorry we're out of time.
No problem. Bum, 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 bum. Hands off Medicare.
And we will be right back after this. I'm Richard RJ Eskow, and this is The Zero Hour.